So you remember when I made the video talking about the fire alarm pole stations and everything that's required for those? Well, here's the part two of that for fire alarm system requirements. Introduction. When you want to install a fire alarm system in a public building, you'll have to first make sure you know all the requirements for such a thing before doing so. Fire alarm systems have many requirements, and those will be listed in the following slides. Detectors. Install at least one detector in every room, hallway, storage area, closet, elevator, shaft, stairwell, and other enclosed spaces. For rooms that are larger than the manufacturer's spacing requirements, you may need more than one detector. For example, if your detector is rated for 30 feet, space them evenly with no more than 30 feet between each detector. When only one detector is needed in a room, place it as close to the center of the ceiling as possible. Power supply. Fire alarm systems must have either two power supply sources or a single power supply that meets NFPA 111 standards. If you use a single power source, it must have enough energy to power the system for 24 hours. You should also have a secondary power supply, such as a backup battery generator, stored energy emergency power supply system, or SEPSS, to run the system if the primary power fails. Wiring. Wiring must comply with the NFPA 70 and NFPA 72. Zoning. Each floor should be zoned separately, with no zone exceeding the 22,500 square feet. You should also have a zoning indicator that panel and associated controls in an approved location. An example of a zoning indicator panel can be something such as the Firelight MS-4E conventional fire alarm control panel, which has indicators for 4 zones. Smoke alarms. Install smoke alarms in the following locations: living room, den, family room, near the stairway to the upper level, at least 100 feet from a cooking appliance, high on walls or ceilings, not near windows, doors, or ducts. Never paint a smoke alarm or fire alarm, as that can mess the device up and make it unusable. Interconnect all smoke alarms so that when one detects smoke, that one and all the others can activate all at the same time. Small businesses or standalone office buildings. If you are in a small standalone office building or business, you may not need a fire alarm system, but check with your local authorities first. Businesses in this category can include, but are not limited to, airport traffic control towers, ambulatory care facilities, animal hospitals, kennels and pounds, banks, barber and beauty shops, car washes, civic administration of offices, clinics, dry cleaning and laundries, pickup and delivery stations, and self-service, electronic data processing stations, testing and research laboratories, motor vehicle showrooms, post offices, print shops, professional services, architects, attorneys, dentists, physicians, engineers, etc., radio and television exchanges, training and skill development, not in a school or academic program. How do you put a fire alarm control panel in volt test mode? The one thing to always remember when conducting a fire alarm system test is to put your fire alarm control panel into volt test mode, so any and all fire alarm activations do not send the fire department out for no reason. To do this, all you have to do is use the panel's navigation buttons to access the menu where the volt test option is located. If it requires it, enter a security code to access the volt test function. Once you're in volt test mode, you can choose which zones or devices you want to test individually by activating them one by one. As you activate each zone or device, listen for the audible signal or visual indication on the panel to confirm the system is responding correctly. Things to consider when conducting a fire alarm system test. Inform occupants in the building that a vault test is being conducted to avoid confusion. Always refer to the specific instructions provided in your fire alarm control panel's user manual for exact procedures on entering vault test mode. Monthly functional system tests. Monthly testing goes beyond visual inspection. A designated staff member, following manufacturer instructions, should activate a single manual pull station or initiate a controlled activation of an automatic initiating device, such like a smoke detector, each month. This verifies the functionality of the entire alarm circuit, ensuring alarms sound throughout the building. Annual professional inspections. An annual professional inspection by a certified fire alarm technician is crucial for comprehensive system evaluation. This inspection goes beyond basic functionality checks and provides an in-depth look at your fire alarm system's health. What an annual professional inspection may include: detailed cleaning and maintenance of the system's components, in-depth testing of all initiating devices, including smoke detectors, heat detectors, and manual pull stations, verification of the system's communication capabilities, if applicable, with the central monitoring station, review system laws and troubleshoot and historical issues. When conducting monthly functional tests, ensure a clear communication plan with building occupants to avoid unnecessary panic. Consider scheduling these tests outside of regular business hours or notifying occupants beforehand. Fire alarm testing for businesses. Don't be caught off guard. While NFPA 72 outlines a minimum testing schedule, additional testing might be necessary depending on your specific situation. Consulting with a fire safety professional can provide valuable insights and ensure your fire alarm system meets all the necessary safety protocols. Additional considerations are listed on the following slides. High-risk businesses. Businesses like manufacturing facilities or restaurants with open fires might require more frequent inspections of specific components. Smoke detector sensitivity. Smoke detector sensitivity testing might be required every 2 years in some systems to ensure they remain responsive to even minor smoke particles. Communication systems. If your fire alarm system is connected to a central monitoring station, additional testing procedures might be necessary to verify proper communication protocols. How often is NFPA 270 or NFPA 72 fire alarm testing required? NFPA 72 outlines the minimum testing schedule: weekly visual inspections, monthly functional tests, and annual professional inspections. Should fire alarms be tested frequently? Absolutely. Regular testing helps ensure your fire alarms function correctly in an emergency. A well-maintained fire alarm system provides precious seconds for evacuation, potentially saving lives and minimizing property damage. What are the consequences for not testing fire alarms regularly? Failing to test fire alarms regularly can result in malfunctioning systems that fail to alert occupants in case of a fire. This can lead to several injuries, fatalities, and significant property damage. And additionally, non-compliance with fire safety regulations can result in hefty fines and legal liabilities. Who should perform the fire alarm testing? While trained staff members can perform routine visual inspections and simple functional tests, it is recommended to hire certified professionals for comprehensive annual inspections and maintenance. Professionals have the expertise and equipment to thoroughly test and maintain fire alarm systems, ensuring compliance with all relevant safety standards. How can businesses ensure their fire alarm systems are always ready? Businesses can ensure their fire alarm systems are always ready by implementing a regular testing and maintenance schedule, keeping detailed records of all tests and maintenance activities can help track the system's condition and ensure compliance with regulations. How loud must a fire alarm be? Fire alarms should be loud enough to be heard in all accessible areas of a building, but not so loud that they cause permanent hearing loss. The NFPA requires fire alarms in public spaces to be at least 15 decibels louder than the average sound of level of the area. For example, in an office where people typically chat at a level of 50 to 60 decibels, the fire alarm might be 75 decibels or higher. In a loud commercial kitchen or large space with high ceilings, the fire alarm might be louder. When a fire alarm is usually set at versus what people hear. Fire alarms are usually set at a maximum level of 120 decibels, but the actual volume a person hears will be lower because of the distance from the alarm and because building materials absorb sound. For example, if a fire alarm is set to 83 decibels on the corridor side of a solid corridor, the volume on the other side might be only 59 decibels. To ensure that the alarm can be heard in all areas, you can try installing a horn in each room. What must you know prior to installing a fire alarm in a bathroom or hospital? The horn on a fire alarm can be very ear-piercingly loud, so if you want to install a fire alarm in a bathroom, you should avoid using a device with a horn attached, as not to cause permanent hearing loss. Remote strobes or chime strobes are better to install in a bathroom, since remote strobes do not have a sound at all, and chime strobes have a little ding that is much quieter than a horn. Remote strobes and chime strobes can also be good to install in hospitals because if you install a horn in a hospital, it might give the patients a heart attack. What is voice evacuation and what is it used for? Voice evacuation is a type of system that requires the use of speaker strobe or public announcement system to give building occupants information of a fire and proper instructions on what to do to ensure their safety. Some voice evacuation systems can provide certain messages that are chosen off a fire alarm control panel, such as the Cooper Wheelock voice evacuation system. 907.5.2.2 Emergency Voice Alarm Communication Systems. Emergency voice alarm communication systems, or voice evacuation, required by this code shall be designed and installed in accordance with NFPA 72. The operation of any automatic fire detector, sprinkler, water flow device, or manual fire alarm box shall automatically sound an alert tone followed by a voice, instructions giving approved information and directions for general or staged evacuation in accordance with the building's fire safety and evacuation plans required by Section 404. In high-rise buildings, the system shall operate on at least the alarming floor, the floor above, and the floor below. Paging zones for voice evacuation. Speakers shall be provided throughout the building by paging zones. At a minimum, paging zones shall be provided as follows: elevator groups, interior exit stairways, each floor, areas of refugee, or areas of rescue assistance, as some people prefer to call it. The exception for paging zones. In group I1 and I2 occupancies, the alarm shall sound in a consistently attended area, and a general occupant notification shall be broadcast over the overhead pager. 907.5.2.2.1 Manual Override. A manual override for emergency voice communication shall be provided on a selective and all-call basis for all paging systems. Voice evacuation stages. Voice evacuation systems can have different stages depending on the situation, such as when evacuating a building. Decision. The decision to evacuate is made, which can be a complex process that may involve limited information. Alarm messages. Messages are sent to hazardous areas and high-risk areas are informed of evacuation activities. Low-risk areas may be warned about the situation. Pre-recorded warnings. The system may use pre-recorded warnings to manage a phased evacuation, which can be gradual and controlled. In a phased evacuation, the most dangerous areas are usually evacuated first, while sounding areas are put on alert. Live announcements. The system may also make live announcements to specific areas and stages. For example, an evacuate message might say, "Attention, please. Fire has been reported in the building. Please leave the building immediately by the nearest exit. Do not use the lift." Synchronization. Voice evacuation systems use techniques like acoustic modeling and simulation to ensure that all speakers broadcast the same message at the same time. This prevents confusion and ensures the occupants receive consistent instructions no matter where they are. STI Stopper 2 cover for false fire alarm prevention. This protective cover has been helping to stop false fire alarms around the world for more than 30 years without restricting legitimate alarms. All models offer excellent protection against physical damage, both accidental and intentional, and several against severe environments, both inside and out. It is ideal for schools, colleges, hospitals, nursing homes, stores, hotels, and public buildings of almost every kind where there is a threat of false fire alarms. How the STI Stopper 2 works. The STI Stopper 2 consists of a clear, tamper-proof, tough polycarbonate shield and frame, but the line includes models with the option of a piezo horn, spacer, form C, drive delay contact, and gaskets. The cover accommodates most manual pull stations. When the STI Stopper 2 with horn is lifted to gain access to the protected alarm, a piercing self-contained 95 or 105 decibel warning horn at 1 foot sounds. Immediate attention is drawn to the area and the prankster will either run or be caught. The cover is connected to the frame by a cable, and when the cover is lifted, it drops off of the frame and a horn will sound, models with horn only that is, until the cover is snapped back onto the frame or until the battery life runs low. Another way to turn the horn on a STI Stopper 2 off is by flipping the on-off switch on the inside. The end. So, after a very long slideshow, we've made it to the end of the video. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you all next time.